Saturday, March 16th, and the clipboard says I've got work to do. And I always do what the clipboard says, so I've been busy. I planted all of my nightshades this morning. Each type that we've got jalapeno, banana pepper, Thai chili, sun gold tomato, sun sugar tomato, brandywine tomato, lemon boy tomato, and Roma tomato. For each of them, I planted 3 peat pods. In one of them, which is denoted with an S at the top, I soaked the seeds overnight, and the other ones I just put in dry seeds. And each pod has 3 seeds in it. So 12 total seeds for each plant. You may have noticed I've got a couple different size peat pods. These are the ones that I got at the hardware store that came with like the plastic trays. These are the ones I ordered off Amazon, and they're a lot bigger, and the outside is a different material, and I like them a lot better. They're made by Jiffy, so the same company, but these are the 42 millimeter peat pods, I think, and yeah, they're great. So anyway, got all those started, and now we won't have more work to do until the 6th, other than watering these things. And I wanted to show you this sprayer that I got. This was on sale for $7 at one of the big box stores, and it replaced my little squeeze sprayer. And this is just so much better. The stream is much more gentle and consistent, and you don't have to keep pumping it. I mean, it doesn't leak. It's fantastic. So yeah, that's it for today. It is now Sunday, March 24th. The basil has been going for, 15 days? It took a long time for these to sprout, but each peat pod now has at least 1 sprout coming out of it. It's been 8 days for the peppers and tomatoes, the nightshades, and all of the tomatoes have sprouted, but none of the peppers have yet. It's probably just too cold in the basement here. You'll notice a couple changes. One is that the labels we cut really short and made like official labels on them. And the reason we did this is because the label sticks that we had in there were too tall. And because of their height, you had to put the light up too high. You couldn't get within a couple inches of the seedlings. And when the light is up too high, it makes the seedlings get leggy. They get really tall and sort of weak. And that is not at all good. In fact, it can sort of ruin your plants. So we cut the labels so that we could bring the light a lot closer. So that's another change here. The light is only about 1.5 inches above the seedlings. And again, we'll move it up as the seedlings grow. We have started running the fan. It's off right now, but I'll turn it on here. We've started running the fan some, and that is to agitate the seedlings. You can see it shakes just a little bit, and that's exactly what we want. We want it to shake a little bit, so there's a little bit of stress in the plant, but not like a wind, so that it really harms the plant. And again, the idea here is that the plant will grow tolerant to that vibration by making a nice, strong, healthy stem. The other thing I wanted to talk about was that these peat pods have more than 1 seedling in them generally. And that's great, and I do that to make sure we get 1 in each pod, because that's really important for planting. But we only want 1 in the long run. So in these cases where there's more than 1, I go in here with the scissors and I cut the extra. I pick the best looking one and I save it, the one that looks strongest. And if there's no advantage, like they all kind of look the same, I'll pick the one that's most in the middle of the peat pod. So I'll cut the rest of these. I'm not going to show you that. Oh, one more thing I forgot to mention is that with this fan on, if you leave it on all day, you have to water these peat pods twice a day. Normally I water them once, but it desiccates them enough that you got to do it more than once. It's probably hard to tell in the video, but this has been watered already, and it is bone dry because the fan is right next to it. So yeah, that's it for now. What I hope to show you next is as these seedlings get bigger, we'll plant them into a little bit larger pots with some more nutritious soil, and we'll start doing a little bit of fertilizing. There's going to be a lot of planting and peat pod work that I won't show you because it all looks the same as this. But in a couple of weeks, the 6th of April, we'll be doing kale and lettuce and stuff. So just know that's happening. But since the procedure is basically the same, I won't show you what that looks like. We'll only show you those once they move outside. It is Saturday, March 30th. It's been about 3 weeks since I started the first basil plants. They're all up and looking pretty good so far. It's been 2 weeks since I started the Nightshades. The peppers are finally coming up. We've got several jalapeno plants, a couple banana peppers. The Thai chilies have been the slowest, but they're just starting to come up. So that all looks good. For the tomatoes, the Sun Gold and Sun Sugars, those are both orange cherry tomatoes. They're looking really good. The true leaves are coming in, so really happy with those. The Brandywine and Lemon Boy tomatoes also look good, and in some cases are getting true leaves. And then the Roma tomatoes don't have true leaves yet, but they're all sprouted. I need to trim a few of these out. So far the whole set looks good. Really happy with this. We're on track. And real quick up here, got some more microgreen sprouts. These are peas I started maybe 4 days ago. Yep. And these are radishes. Okay, that's it for today. It's April 1st, and I'm going to pot some of these nightshades and their peat pods up into larger containers. These are called rose pots. They're just small plastic containers. And I'll do a bunch of the plants in those, mostly because I don't have a ton of bigger, more sturdy pots, but I've got a lot of those. The ones that we plan to keep and plant, I will plant in these terracotta, slightly larger terracotta pots. Then I'll eventually plant those out in the garden. So basically the stuff in the rose pots will be things that I'm just trying to keep alive and give away eventually. We're going to do this by using this organic potting soil. We will fill the containers with that, cut the sides of the peat pods, plant the peat pods into the potting soil, and put a little bit more of the potting soil on top. And then we'll water them in, move the labels, and that'll be it. I filled the rose pots by scooping. You want to get it a little over half full, maybe a little bit more than that. That's maybe 2/3 full. And then I'll pack that down gently with my fingers. Actually, maybe this would be a good idea. Yeah, there we go. And the idea is to do this really gently because seedlings do not like compacted soil. They like really loose soil for root growth. I just want to make sure that it won't settle too much, so don't push too hard when you do that. And that's just, yep, when it's pushed down, it's just over half full, so that's about perfect. Okay, so here's a Roma tomato. I'm going to kind of cut down the side of the peat pod. I like to do it in 3 places. Ooh. Don't have a very good view of this side. Okay. Okay, and that's to give the plants room to kind of root out and spread. Drop that into one of my rose pots. Grab a little bit of potting mix. It's messy, but gets the job done. Spread the potting mix around. Maybe I'll do it with a little bit more. As you might imagine, this is easier to do when you're not holding a camera. It goes a little bit faster. Okay, that looks good. We'll just throw in the label. And you might be saying to yourself, but Bob, the stem, you buried a lot of the stem. And that's true, but tomato plants, the stem that you bury will actually root out. So that will not cause a problem. So this one looks good, and I can move on and do the rest. All right, everything's potted up into the rose pots. Or the terracotta in some cases. And we're ready to move these back downstairs under the lights.